Hello everyone, good morning. This is Rose Jacobs live from the Kalkine studio and you're watching Early Trades, a show where we share with you a glimpse of the Australian share market opening trade scenario along with the global and domestic drivers triggering the market momentum. In our first segment of the show today, we'll look at how early morning trades panned out, taking cues from the Wall Street action overnight. Then we'll look at prominent newsmakers grabbing the headlines during the early trade hours. And finally, we'll discuss the movement seen in cryptocurrency, crude oil, gold and metals indices. The Australian share market opened in the green on Monday after US stocks closed lower on Friday following the release of inflation data. The Australian benchmark index ASX 200 opened 9.30 points or 0.13% higher to 7,415.90. Shares of a few companies going ex-dividend on Monday include Chorus, Helios and Hub24. The top gainers of the day on ASX during opening trade are Evolution Mining, Iluka Resources, Pilbara Minerals, Aristocrat Leisure and Elders. Whereas the bottom performing stocks are Helios, Chorus, Mineral Resources, Klein Nouvelle Pharmaceuticals and Magellan Financial Group. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones fell 0.8% and the S&P 500 dropped 0.8% and the Nasdaq tumbled 0.9%. The latest economic data showed that US inflation rose marginally in August. According to the US Labor Department, it was the highest 12-month jump since November 2010. Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell had earlier said the current inflation is transitory due to a bottleneck in supply chains. Moving on to the second segment of the show, let's quickly look at the highlights of the prominent ASX shares under the spotlight during the early trades. The first company on our list today is an exploration and production company, Cooper Energy, which has entered into an agreement with AGL Energy. Under the agreement, Cooper Energy will supply all developed and uncontracted volumes from Casino, Henry and the Netherby fields in Otway Basin. The pricing under the contract for contracted gas supply is in the range of 6 to 8 per gigajoule, rather $6 to $8 per gigajoule. The share price of Cooper Energy is trading higher during opening trade at 23 cents. The next company is Australia's largest real estate investment trust, Waypoint REIT, which is in talks with investors and looking to issue a new Australian dollar bond for 7 years to pay a margin of 155 basis points over swap. Westpac and National Australia Bank will jointly lead the offer. The share price of Waypoint REIT is trading lower during opening trade at Australian $2.74. Moving on, the next update we have for you is about the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission denying Qantas Airways and Japan Airways to coordinate flights between Australia and Japan. It is said this agreement would reduce competition, making it difficult for other airlines to operate on routes between Australia and Japan. The share price of Qantas is trading lower during opening trade at $5.21. Next is automotive aftercare and accessories company AMA Group, which has successfully completed the institutional component of its entitlement offer, along with $50 million being offered of senior unsecured convertible notes due for March 2027. The share price of AMA Group is trading higher during opening trade at 43 cents. Lastly, we have the owner and operator of an airport, Sydney Airport Holdings, has granted due diligence to the Sydney Aviation Alliance after it upgraded its takeover offer for the company. The consortium made a revised indicative bid of $8.75 per share compared to its last revised bid of $8.45 per share. The share price of Sydney Airport Holdings is trading higher during opening trade at $8.38. Moving on to the third and final segment for the show, let's now discuss the movement seen in cryptocurrency, bond yields, crude oil, gold and metals indices. Beginning with the bond yields, the 30-year Treasury bond yields were up $1.83% to 1.934. while the 10-year bond yields rose 3.29% to 1.343. Meanwhile, US dollar future index increased by 0.19% to US $92.655. Moving on, let's look at futures and commodities. Gold futures were down 0.62% to US $1,788.90 per ounce. The uncertainty over the US federal's tapering timeline was exerting pressure on the precious metal. ASX-listed gold stocks such as Northern Star Resources Limited was seen in the green during early trade, while Newcrest Mining was also trading higher during opening trade on Monday. Silver, on the other hand, decreased by 1.64% to US $23.780 per ounce, while copper rose 3.26% to US $4.4250. Meanwhile, traders brought crude oil to tighter US supplies. Brent oil futures increased by 2% to US $72.88 per barrel, and WTI crude was up 2.27% to US $69.69. Energy stocks such as Woodside Petroleum were trading higher during early trade, whereas Santos edged higher during early trade on Monday. Well, that's it for now on the early morning trades. I'm Rose Jacobs signing off. Stay tuned to Kalkine TV as we have many more shows lined up for you, sharing live updates across the economy, markets and sectors.